I'm here with Rafaela and Angela. Rafaela, can you explain some of the struggles that your family has faced with your husband's immigration status and the legal ramifications of the legal system?
Well, to start off, I'll give you just a brief synopsis of what the situation is. I became married in 2005, and my husband is an illegal immigrant. Because I have a law enforcement, or had a law enforcement background, we petitioned for him to become legal, to get legal status. And this was in 2006. And then, we went through the process and everything. And then in 2009, I deployed. I'm actively military, so I went to Al-Assad, Iraq. I was there for a year. And then when I returned the end of December of 2009, and then soon after he received the last appointment to finalize his process. And so he had to appear early January. So I didn't have a lot of time, a lot of transition time from coming back from a long deployment into, or reintegrating myself into the civilian life again, and my family, of course. So we traveled to Juarez, where the American consulate is in Mexico. And when it was his turn to interview, the interviewer didn't even bother to check his documents or any evidence that we have that he, he's been a law-abiding citizen, he's paid taxes all these years, and that we have a legitimate marriage and family. He just said to him, you're just taking advantage of your wife's position as an American soldier, as an American, and your marriage is not legitimate, so we're not going to give you anything. And he said to him, you can just go back to where you came from. And so from there, we lost pretty much all hope, because at the time, the attorney that was assisting us, he passed away in the middle of the process. And while there could have been an opportunity for a waiver, we had no clue that we could do that. And so our attorney had Hep C and ended up passing in between that process. So we were kind of stuck, not knowing what to do. And so I had to return to the States as my military time frame had ended, where I had to go back and report. And he stayed in Mexico for close to a year, waiting for something to resolve, or something to do. And eventually he had to choose to stay in Mexico for the 10-year bar that he was given at the time where he was denied, or come home to his family, to a wife who had no time to transition back to civilian life from a deployment, to his children that were confused about what was going on. All they know is that they didn't have mommy and daddy. So from there on, it's just been one thing after the other, where I've had to be the head of household and have had to work alone, because while he's continued to try, you understand the difficulties of having to find a job while being undocumented.
Absolutely.
So that's pretty much.
Well, thank you for your service, and must have been a very rough time, but you've come a long way, it seems, and we still definitely need to find a way to be able to tax and ID undocumented immigrants that are here in America. This is a great example. You're an American, you have 3 American children, and these immigration laws are just dividing your family. It's breaking you apart. It's very difficult. Angela, can you explain some of the problems with the legal parts of the immigration system, why this is happening, and how it could be fixed?
Sure. So, this is a very unfortunate situation that I've seen many times, not just with Rafaela's case, but it happens where someone who entered the country without inspection is not eligible for adjustment of status to fix their status in the United States. They can't get lawful status. So in her situation, because he was married to a U.S. citizen, he could potentially leave the country and apply abroad. But if you've been in the country for over a year without status and you leave the country, you're subject to a 10-year bar, and you can't come back for 10 years. Certain cases, he could have been eligible for a waiver of that bar, but they didn't know that at the time, and they were forced with a very difficult decision. And he needed to care for not only his family, who are here lawfully, but also his spouse, who was suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder from readjusting to civilian life after deployment in Iraq. And so it was a very trying time. So he decided to come back. So this is a second complication with our laws. It's called, the short nickname is 9C. 212A9C says if you've entered once and you've been here for over a year without inspection or without permission, you leave and you come back a second time without inspection, you are not eligible for the waiver of that 10-year bar. And so no matter what they do, he can't fix his status in the United States. He's stuck. He's stuck here, and you know, it's a personal decision at that point. You've got a family. He's the only person in his family who's undocumented, and he can't fix it. He's not a criminal. His wife is serving in the U.S. Armed Forces, in active duty, 70% disabled. His children are U.S. citizens, but yet he cannot work lawfully in the United States to help his family. So again, this is the 10-year bar if you entered without inspection, or 9C, a double entry with a year or more in between, makes you ineligible for the waiver of the bar. So that's the predicament that these families often find themselves in, and it leads to a lot of complications and a lot of challenges. And if we had some policy that could legalize his status, I think, you know, he's a contributing member of our communities. He's working, he's paying his taxes. He's going to continue to do that, and he wants to go back to school. Rafaela wants to go back to school. This is a great family.
Exactly, I agree. Well, thank you for explaining that. I think that there's some misconceptions there. That's something that a lot of people don't realize. These legal problems. I mean, the immigration system is flawed and it needs reform. We need to find a way now, because of situations like this, we need to find a way now to be able to tax and ID undocumented immigrants that are in America, working jobs that we need, so that we can continue to help. They can help America succeed.
Yes, thank you for your work.
Yeah, thank you too.